Hey, shalom, brothers and sisters. Welcome back. Today I want to talk about the holy days. No, not the holidays, not Christmas, Easter, Good Friday, Halloween. I don't want to talk about them. I'm talking about the biblical holy days. And in fact, later on in future episodes, I want to talk about them individually. I'm going to break them down, talk about them individually. Until then, I just want to give a little recap of what about the biblical feast days, holidays, holy days, whatever. And anyways, I got my notebook here. What I wrote down, I just want to read this to you instead of me fumbling my words around, tongue tied or whatever. But here we go. I'm going to read. Okay, first we're going to go to the Passover. Passover. I refer you to Leviticus 23, verse 5. Of course, in Exodus, that's when the Passover occurred with the children of Israel, in Egypt. But anyway, the Passover reminds us that Christ, our Passover, is sacrificed for us. And I refer you to 1 Corinthians chapter 5, verse 7. Just as the firstborn of Israel were spared when the death angel saw the blood of the sacrificial lamb on the doorpost and lintels of the houses, Exodus 12. So we are saved from death through the death of Yeshua, our Passover. Okay. Now, number 2, the Feast of Unleavened Bread. And I refer you to the Leviticus chapter 23, verses 6 through 8. Feast of Unleavened Bread was for the Israelites a 7-day celebration of their deliverance from bondage of Egypt. For us, it is a celebration of our deliverance from the bondage of sin. Paul spoke of this festival when he said, "Therefore let us keep the feast, not with old leaven, neither with the leaven of the malice and wickedness, but with the unleavened bread of sincerity and truth." And that was in 1 Corinthians chapter 5, verse 8. Okay, we'll go to number 3 now. And this is the day of Pentecost, or the Feast of Weeks. You could go to Leviticus 23, 15 through 29, or Deuteronomy chapter 16, 9, and 10. Okay, the day of Pentecost was a harvest festival for Israel. It is the birthday of the New Testament assembly, Acts 2, and reminds us of the ongoing harvest of lives for the kingdom of Yahweh. It also tells us of a much greater future harvest. And that's coming real soon. You can bank on that. Number 4 is the Feast of Trumpets. You can look that up, Leviticus chapter 23, 24, and 25. Okay, the Feast of Trumpets was a memorial of blowing the trumpets for the people of Israel. It directs our attention to the second coming of Yeshua Messiah and the resurrection of the saints. Paul wrote, "In a moment, in a twinkling of an eye, at the last trump, for the trumpet shall sound, and the dead shall be raised incorruptible, and we shall be changed." 1 Corinthians chapter 15, 52. And now, number 5 here is the Day of Atonement. You can find that in Leviticus chapter 23, 27 through 32. The Day of Atonement was the only day of the week the high priest went into the most holy place to make an atonement for the people of Israel. This day of fasting pictures the binding of Satan and the reconciliation of Yahweh with the world, beginning with the people of Israel. Now, number 6 here, the Feast of Tabernacles. Please check out Leviticus chapter 23, 34 through 36, 39 through 43. The Feast of Tabernacles reminds us that we are sojourners in the world and we dwell in temporary fleshly tabernacles as we await the establishment of the kingdom of Yahweh on this earth. Now, the last one, the excuse me, the 8th day or the last great day. And you can look that up in Leviticus 23 verses 36 and 39. The last great day, as we have traditionally called it, immediately follows the last day of the Feast of Tabernacles. It pictures the post-millennium day of judgment. So those are the holy days right there. And a lot of people today think that they don't matter anymore. They're for the Jews, which the Jews is just one part of it, the kingdom of Israel. There's other brothers, of course, and it's if you look in the New Testament, Yeshua, he followed, he observed them. The apostles observed them. You can check it out, check it out, and they observed them too, and the other disciples did. But anyways, I want to, when it comes to the holidays, man-made holidays, which was rooted in paganism. You can look up old textbooks and everything about the origins of, just say, Christmas, Halloween, Easter, Good Friday, New Year's. You can look them up. In one book, you look up Encyclopedia Britannica. If you look up those pagan holidays, they do mention the pagan roots behind them. And well, I don't know about these days, like brand new ones out. Maybe the changed it. The powers to be changed the history, and wanted to blot that out. But they've been in encyclopedias for the longest time. And I just want to mention a couple of verses in the scripture to you. The first one we're going to go to is Jeremiah chapter 10, 1 through 4. And it says, hear the word which Yahweh speaks unto you, O house of Israel. Thus says Yahweh, learn not the way of the heathen, and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven. For the heathen are dismayed at them. For the custom of the people are vain. If one cuts a tree out of the forest, the work of the hands of the workmen, with the axe, they deck it with silver and gold, they fasten it with nails and with hammers, that it move not. Now, what does that remind you of? A Christmas tree? And throughout civilizations, from Native Americans, clear off to, Asia and everything, and Africa and Middle East, there was people, they worship trees. There was tree worship going around. And anyways, that, these trees don't have anything to do with Yeshua, Christmas, just like the Easter Bunny. The Easter Bunny and the eggs, what do they have to do with Yeshua? They don't have nothing to do with them, It's like they said, like one man said, you can't put the Christ in the mass when Christ was never in there in the first place. So, anyways, I'm gonna go to another one of Genesis 1:14, and when he talks about the feast here, it's like let them be for signs and festivals and days and years. These feast days are also signs. There's a reason why Yahweh and Yeshua created them. They weren't just created in the Exodus time and little down the years. They were from the beginning. They don't come out and say it directly, but if you see how Cain and Abel, they sacrificed, Abraham sacrificed, made offerings and everything towards Yahweh. They don't say directly what it is, but obviously they were in existence long before the Israelis was at the mountain. Anyways, let's see. Exodus 23:2 gives great advice. Do not follow a multitude to do evil. Just because the multitude's doing something and it's okay in society or something doesn't mean it's right. And then the old saying says, how could a billion Chinese people be wrong or something? Well, they can. The majority is usually wrong. It's just a few that are right, and they got the bravery and the courage to go against the system because of the truth. So, anyways, I want to conclude this with 1 Peter chapter 2, 9 through 11. And it's beautiful. It's a beautiful what he says here. It says here, you are an elect race, officiating as priests of the kingdom, a set apart people, a redeemed congregation, that you should proclaim the praise of him who called you out of darkness to his precious light, who formerly were not counted as a people, but now are the people of Elohim. And also there are no mercies on you, but now mercies are poured out upon you. My beloved, I entreat you as strangers and pilgrims, separate yourselves from all lusts of the body, for they war against your being. So Peter, Peter being a brother in the faith and everything, he wrote this stuff, out of love and concern. Just like the other apostles of Yeshua, there was no political agenda behind it, and they didn't, they were rebels. They didn't follow the crowd, the Pharisees and everything, and their rituals and their practices and everything, which, they weren't, scripturally authorized by Yahweh, but anyways, I just wanted to, break down what the holy days are, and I'm going to get into them later on in future episodes individually, like I said in the beginning. And that's all I really want to say about that right now. And, please comment below. Let me know what you think about the holidays versus the holy days. Just let me know. And like I say before, please subscribe to my channel. I'm going to have more content. So also you'd have to hit the notification bell and give me some likes out there. And I thank you again for stopping by. It's always a pleasure. Until we meet again, peace out and shalom.